Hi, I'm Tim Carter, AskTheBuilder.com. This is video number 2 of a house foundation series. Probably we're only going to do one more because they're going to pour this foundation today, and there's a lot to see. I want you to understand something. I am not building this home. This home is being built by someone else. It just happens to be on my own street where I live, so it's really easy to come and record videos. Let's take a look at what's changed. It's been a week since I was last here. They probably had some type of personnel issues, or maybe they had forms that were on another job, but all the forms are set. Let's take a look. If you remember in the last video, all the forms were set on this wall, but now all of a sudden you see a little shelf here, and this is a standing platform that the workers are going to be standing on when they go to start to put the concrete in, which I'm pretty certain is going to happen today. And they're all ready to go. But look what happened on this back wall. If you remember, the back wall was that high before, but they added another 16 inches of panels to get even more height. So that back wall is going to be pretty high. And you can see here are the walk planks up here that they're going to be walking on, so that they can finish smooth the top of the concrete. That's the perfect height. So the top of the form there is just up here, is just about waist height for the workman that's going to be standing here. Here's a lower wall that they put in. They still have to put in a piece of wood here, otherwise concrete's going to flow out of here like crazy. But this is how low this wall is going to be. This wall here is only going to be, oh gosh, I don't know, a foot or so high. But interestingly, there's no reinforcing steel in here yet. That troubles me. I think that there should be a reinforcing steel. And you can see how they keep the top of the forms together. They have these pre-bent metal straps that they nail in place so that the top of the forms does not, spread apart. In other words, you want to keep the concrete wall the same width all the way across here. Simple as that. All right. Let's look at a few more things. One thing I want to talk about is the green 6-inch pipe still looks to be the same size. It doesn't look like they've cut any sleeves yet, but it's still not too late. They can still put sleeves in this wall, but it would be very hard to put them in this tall wall. You have to put the sleeves in as you set the panels, because you just can't reach down there now. And you have to understand that if you want to have the sleeve high up on the wall, you have to insert a wood block that the sleeve, slides over, so that the sleeve can be suspended, up off the footing. And it's impossible to do that now. You can only do that once, when a panel is off, and then you slide that panel in place. So I hope that makes sense. I think you can visualize that. It'd be really impossible to put that sleeve. You could drop a sleeve down there now, but even still, the problem would be if they do have the reinforcing rods in place, which, let's see if we can see something here in the corner. Very interesting. I don't see any reinforcing in here coming around the corner. That could be a problem. But if the reinforcing were in there, they would never be able to drop that sleeve down to the bottom. Let's go look farther down around towards where the garage is going to be. In the last video, I talked about how they needed to chalk lines to be able to set the panels, and you can pretty clearly see the chalk lines here. This one seems to be off about a 1/2 inch. But now that I remember and see this chalk line on this footing here, they still have panels to set. They're not going to be pouring this. If they're going to pour this today, they're not going to pour it until this afternoon, because they still have to set panels all along this entire wall here. And I do not see the panels here. They need some long, tall panels to do this one. And maybe they're bringing them from another job. But they are getting closer. Let's go over here and look at some of the reinforcing steel. They do have some of the steel set in this panel here. Alright, so in here, there's a piece of reinforcing steel kind of low. And they have a piece right here, mid-span. And then they have 2 pieces up here. So that's pretty good. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. But once again, I'd like to see it come around the corner. And you can see a really good example of how these ties work. Remember, we talked about those in the last video. These keep the panels from spreading apart because these clips on the outside lock around it, preventing the panels from sliding. So you can see how that works. It's really, really a pretty ingenious method. These are very inexpensive, and you have to have them everywhere, because if you don't have these in place, the forms will blow out. That's a really, really bad thing. Here's a little layout mistake. Kind of interesting. Notice that the foundation form here, all of a sudden when you get down here, it's not, this side is not sitting on the footing any longer, and you have a lot of footing showing over here. And obviously this footing here should have been poured over about 4 inches or so, 3-4 inches, and it continues all the way down to here. So they made some type of layout mistake. It can happen, but it shouldn't happen. It's not that hard to get it right. It just, it's just one of those things. But those kind of things trouble me. When I see that kind of problem early in a job, I start to wonder about the quality of the subcontractors who will do the rest of the work. Let's look at the strapping again. We saw this on the footing, but look here. This little piece of black metal, it goes down, goes underneath the form board, and then it goes up and it comes around the other side. And that keeps the bottom of these form boards from kicking out. In other words, you don't want, when the concrete comes in here, it's going to want to spread these apart or kick them out. And of course, these boards on the top here, they keep the top rigid, so that, once again, so that the forms don't spread out like this. And they've got these boards, placed every now and then. That's how you kind of keep the forms in place. But this wall here looks really funky right now. It's curved and bowed. If we go down here and we look down the other direction, you'll see that something's definitely wrong. And I don't know exactly how they're going to fix it. Although, I guess when you look this way, it has a little bit of a bow in it right about down here. But it has a really big bow in it right here. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here after this is stripped and when they get ready to install the concrete slab. I am a little mystified by this. This is not exactly how I would have formed this up. That's about all I can show you with respect to the foundation forms. I don't know that they're going to pour it today. They still have a little bit of work to do. And I think maybe it's going to be poured tomorrow. It's been a week since I've been here, at least a week. And I don't know what the holdup was. That's not a good sign. To lose a week at this point of the job is really, really going to come back to bite them in the you-know-what down the road here. And I'm going to talk about that actually in the next video. I think it's really important to talk about the time frame of when to build a home. All right, we're going to see the next video about the house foundation. It's going to be after it's poured. We're going to see if they were smart enough to put any sleeves in. You're going to see a bunch of big gray walls, simple as that. I don't know if I'm going to be here when they actually pour it, but I'll do my best to try to be here when the concrete trucks are here. Looks like they're probably going to need a pump, maybe. I don't know. They might be able to get a truck up behind me, up on that hill, and that would be the simplest thing to do. But anyway, we're going to see a poured concrete foundation really soon. I'm Tim Carter, AskTheBuilder.com. If you want to discover more home improvement tips, go to AskTheBuilder.com.